Generation Games presents Origin of the Species, a 3D action thriller set in a world of international conspiracy and terror. Witness for yourself the catastrophic combination of paranoia, control, and foolish tampering with the natural ordering of Earth's species. Nature is no longer in control. Featuring over 23 levels of fast-paced adrenaline-fueled mayhem and action. Highly aggressive and intelligent enemy characters. Previously unseen levels of player control and special moves. Build up your character to achieve the full amount of devastating, mysterious powers. Help the innocent victims in compelling risk versus reward scenarios. 7 supremely powerful boss characters.
Any sins you want to confess before the end.
Compelling storyline based on some of the world's most fascinating conspiracy theories.
So it is true. You plan to infiltrate the Area 51 base.
Introducing a new video game hero.
I've started to change. I can do new things. And then there are the nightmares.
I am on a journey of discovery, not merely to seek out bad games, strictly speaking. I'm not here to be one of those bad game YouTubers just cruelly mocking things that took many hours of labor to create, regardless of their quality. No, I'm seeking out the obscure, the lost, the forgotten, which naturally are sometimes, but not always, bad. I'm still shocked sometimes to discover games that, in the nearly 20-year history of YouTube, haven't even gotten a simple 10-minute review before I got to them. Helicops, Sand Warriors, other games I'm teasing but not showing right now, some of which I really enjoy. But like in real archaeology, the lost and forgotten is not found in the temples and palaces, but in the landfills, the garbage dumps. Sometimes you'll find an actual gem, a real treasure, hidden and unseen for years, stashed away or accidentally tossed out. Other times you find, well, absolute garbage. But from that garbage we can learn as much as we can from the gems, and often even more. And so it is in games. Who developed this and why? In what context did it come to be? What were the makers hoping to achieve and why did they fail? What does it say about industry or culture, society, humanity? Now, I'm not saying I will have answers to any of these questions, but every video game, every single one, no matter how garbage, is some kind of fusion of audio, visual, and interactive arts, a result of hours of hard work, even if that work was ultimately misplaced. And every single one is worth some analysis, even if it's just as a couple of sentences to help set the context of a much more interesting game. And folks, I've got a fine and interesting piece of garbage to analyze here. A real prime cut of crap. A game with 3 names, none of which anyone remembers. A game I discovered by just browsing for old PC games to buy, seeing the cover art, and going, what is this? Equal parts 50s B-movie, Max Payne, X-Files, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Move over, Lara Croft. The age of dirt is here. In the year 2002, several former employees of Eidos and Core Design split off to form their own studio in Nottingham, the UK. New Generation Games was founded with the intent to create original games with a 21st century edge. They would go on to recruit developers who at least at some point were formerly employed at such places as Atari, Lionhead, and Sega. Their first project, a partnership with Dallas-based publisher Tri-Synergy, known for such releases as Knight Rider the Game, Terra Wars, NY Invasion, and Limbo of the Lost, would be displayed at E3 2004 under the name Origin of the Species, with an announced release date of later that year. may be a little optimistic because it missed that date by quite a bit. A preview on this German website states it would be released for PC, PS2 and Xbox in the fourth quarter of 2005, and that a PSP port was also in consideration. This hot new studio had ambition, and surely a little extra time is what they needed to make their mark on the industry. A delayed game is eventually good, as the entirely anonymous saying goes. A press release by Tri-Synergy blamed delays on thugs in government, playing up the conspiracy angle of the game's setting. But either way, it promised lots of weapons, cool moves and special powers, an innovative character customization system they called RPG Lite, and a wide variety of enemies to fight. The game was finally released on PC in 2006 as Dirt: Origin of the Species, and a year later in Europe with the revised title of Eva Cash: Dirt Project, localized in a number of languages, including full redubs by French publisher Nobilis. THQ and Deep Silver may also have been involved in some regions. Nobilis promoted the game with a supposed look-alike contest for the game's main character, though I'd bet $5 it was always a PR stunt, no contest was involved and they just hired a model. Reception of the game was universally not mixed. It was downright awful. The vast majority of reviews I found were for the European release, and none of them were good. We don't need to go into the details of what the reviews say, because we'll see for ourselves soon enough. Needless to say, the console versions never materialized. New Generation would release exactly one more game, the creatively titled Winter Sports for Windows and PS2, published by Oxygen Interactive. I tried playing a bit of it, and it's pretty dire. Just a bare minimum piece of software with no music, flat graphics, terrible repeating sound effects, and actually seriously painful controls. Bad, but not at all interesting. In an interview, the game's writer and lead designer Nick Bamford claimed, "We have big plans for future projects. A sequel to Origin of the Species is already in preparation. We also have 2 radical new concepts, with gameplay ideas like never before." But none of that was meant to ever see the light of day. The game's poor reviews were no doubt accompanied by abysmal sales in all regions, and it was doomed to disappear in the garbage pile of history, as was New Generation itself. Winter Sports could not change this fate. Bamford was last spotted as head of development for Canadian studio Navigator Games, who have done work on the Iron Maiden and Avatar: The Last Airbender mobile games, but even that website hasn't been updated in years. Because of the game's numerous titles and a few other reasons, as we go on, I will refer to the game itself as Eva Cash. Let's take a look at it. Let's talk about Dirt's design. From top to bottom, we've got two-tone pigtails that may or may not be dreads, dark eyeshadow, a lip piercing, studded choker, off-the-shoulder black crop top and exposed midriff, teddy bear backpack, a navel piercing, high-riding exposed lace thong, studded leather cuffs, black low-riding bell-bottom cargo pants with wallet chain, Adidas Superstars, and casually holding a shotgun or stylishly dual-wielding pistols or SMGs. It's your 2003 alt-goth girl dreams distilled entirely into a single character. She would fit right in with the main cast of Too Fast, Too Furious. Or maybe Torque. The comparisons to Tomb Raider are apt, because just like that franchise, this design would be entirely out of fashion by the year 2006. This earlier, more colorful concept art, in which the tight cargos are replaced by some jinkos, would have been glorious, but probably very difficult to animate. Now, her name is Eva Cash, but she goes by Dirt for reasons that the game never explains. So we will be respectful and call her only Dirt. So when I say Dirt, I'm talking about the character, and when I say Eva Cash, I'm talking about the game, even though in some regions the game got released as Dirt. Confusing? Yeah, we'll get used to that. This design is, of course, extremely video game, lecherous, meant to titillate the senses of teenage boys in an all too typical way. In the same interview with Nick Bamford I referred to earlier, the interviewer asks, "Will the game also offer adult content? Or is the G-string a weapon? Smiley face." And instead of saying something like, "Hey, that's a fucked up question. Our main character may be sexy but is an empowered young woman with a lot more to her than how she dresses," Bamford answers, "There is no specifically adult content in the game. Unfortunately, the G-string is only there for cosmetic reasons. But since you can see the back of the figure most of the time, I think you'll agree that there really are worse sights." Are these the gameplay ideas like never before he was talking about? Nobilis released their photo shoot, and this French game website asked,
Yo, where's the nudes?
I could come up with something clever or thoughtful here about how this industry and its fandoms react to female characters still to this day, and how the discourse is always centered around angry incels who wouldn't know what to do with a woman if one walked up to them and said, "Hi, Dirt is obviously someone's OC, a character that came to life as a series of sketches on the pages of their notebook in between classes." And I think that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with hypersexualized badass sexy lady protagonists. I just wish we were able to talk about these kinds of characters like people and not little piss babies. That's what I wish. Because when it comes to Dirt's design, I kinda love it. Ironically maybe, but maybe also not. It's stupid, it's dumb, it's evocative of an era that I grew up in. Dare I say, in a better game, it would have been iconic. You could absolutely release a retro send-up of early 2000s third-person action games with this exact design right now, and it would totally work. The game itself, though, not really a looker, is it? Not particularly distinctive. The designs for everything but Dirt are generic as hell. It's a very dark and brown game that just barely missed that 2006 Bloom Overkill era. The lighting is, well, it's barely there. The textures are often just pictures stretched over squares. What else came out in 2006? Gears of War, Rainbow Six Vegas, Okami. It's not a stretch to say it looks bad even by PS2 standards, especially late PS2 standards. The user interface is giant, confusing, always in the way, overly clear in things that don't matter, such as constantly having the power-up description text in its Comic Sans font showing up over these giant icons, and always unclear in things that do matter, such as, yep, that's supposed to be my health bar, I guess. The music is mostly generic and repetitive, loops awkwardly, and the sound design is atrocious overall. I'm kinda glossing over how broken and amateurish everything looks and sounds and feels because I'll go into more detail on how broken and amateurish everything looks and sounds and feels later. First, let's look at how the game plays. Eva Cash is a leading app that offers you a simple and rewarding way to earn money and exciting rewards. With a user-friendly interface and a wide range of offers and videos to choose from— wait, hold on, that's not right. Eva Cash is a third-person shooter with a little bit of everything that was common in the post-Max Payne world. You've got dodge flips, you've got slow-mo, you've got dual wielding, and you've got special abilities that let you do cool stuff. None of it feels good. You can choose from 4 difficulty levels, and besides the regular story mode, there's Time Challenge, which is about going through the levels for high scores, I guess. An attempt at giving the game some replay value, I suppose. Never tried it. So what is this much-hyped RPG Lite system? Well, RPG Lite means that you start the game with a specialization which grants you a single unique ability and rewards extra skill points for playing according to that class's style. The skill points can then be used to buy weapons and ammo between levels. Sharpshooter allows you to hold your breath to steady your aim, Stealth allows you to use cover a bit more than usual, and Aggression gives you a grenade. Regardless of class, you can use all weapons and standard abilities, and to be honest, I'm not sure if the extra skill point rewards work as they should, because I chose Aggression for my playthrough, and got stealth bonuses all the time for point-blank shotgun blasts. I have a feeling the system as described in the game's design document was a lot more elaborate than what ended up in the final product. So Dirt can flip, Dirt can run, Dirt can shoot many gun. Dirt can also hide behind walls and low cover to take pot shots. I didn't do this very much. There isn't that much waist-high cover, so I forgot it was a thing for most of the game. Dirt has a teddy bear backpack apparently named Mr. Boo, although I don't think the name comes up even once in the game itself. It's alive or somehow sentient and responds to her environment by either warning about incoming hostiles or low health status and stuff like that. You don't really notice it. As a forerunner to Dead Space's diegetic UI, it don't work so good. The thing that sets this game apart from any other shooter is that Dirt has a handful of special powers that are available right from the start of the game, even though the promotional material claimed you would unlock them as the game progresses. The idea is that these can be used alongside the gunplay and even chained with each other to give Dirt a great tactical advantage on the battlefield and give the player a lot of creativity in how they approach combat encounters. A genius decided to make it so that the scroll wheel selects these powers instead of your weapons, which I assure you did not lead to any unnecessary deaths at all. These are the powers. 1. TK Throw, which allows you to pick up certain items in the environment and throw them at enemies. 2. The Razor Disc. Dirt apparently carries a saw blade around wherever she goes, as most teenage girls do, and is able to toss it around to casually decapitate anyone at any time while doing a sick pose. 3. The Spin Accelerator. This allows Dirt to do a cute little twirl and also shoot out lead as fast as you can click. You can chain up to 3 of these together to really waste ammunition. 4. Pyrokinesis, the ability to light very specific items highlighted in red on fire. Pretty self-explanatory. 5. Magic Bullet. This allows you to control the trajectory of a bullet for a short period of time. It comes in handy in a couple of moments, but the astute observers among you might notice something strange going on. We'll come back to this later. 6. The Energy Shield. Does what it says on the box. 7. The Super Dodge allows you to target a location to dodge to, doing a cool badass extreme slow motion flip while shooting guns as you escape. 8. TK Flak lets you shoot at a wall with it activated to collect the debris, which you can then throw at an enemy to shred them apart. Why do this when you can just shoot the enemies? Yes, questions. I rarely used any of these powers. The ones I used the most were the Razor Disc in moments of panic, which turned out to be a mistake almost every single time because you can still get damaged while the animation plays, and Pyrokinesis and Magic Bullet, which are necessary for a couple of instances of what could generously be described as puzzles. But wait, there's more. You can also use Ghost Mode, which for some reason gets its own special button. Basically, it makes you invisible at the cost of slower movement and not being able to shoot. I say invisible, but the effect looks like you turned into green slime. And lastly, you can do a counter in very specific situations that hardly ever come up, and the window is so small that even when you see the icon it's usually too late, and even when you hit it in time it just does a dodge move while shooting, taking away all control from you. Honestly, I spend most of the game just shooting guns until things die. The special powers are one of the many things that are half, quarter, 1/8 baked about this game, and deploying them is usually a liability more than anything. Now this is usually where I go deeper into the gameplay mechanics and how the game works, but this is a game that, 1, I wouldn't recommend you to ever play, and 2, is quite difficult to get running anyway. So from this point on, let's just go through the entire thing. We're not skipping a single level, we are eating the entire pie. I'll note whatever gameplay quirks there may be as we follow the story, the tale, the legend of Dirt. Spoiler alert, I guess. I will reiterate that you shouldn't play this game, and you almost certainly can't play this game unless you take a very specific series of steps that may or may not involve dark incantations and at least one blood sacrifice. But if for some reason you are curious enough about Eva Cash to not just watch a video of it, but play it yourself, this is the point where I'm just going to go through all of the game and its magnificent story and spoil it all. So either way, you've been warned.
Wake up, Dirt. Wake up.
Oh my God, why won't you wake up? Oh, please wake up.
Called by both a mysterious disembodied voice and a woman in peril, our protagonist, Eva Cash, alias Dirt, wakes up in an open jail cell as a giant bug is eating some cop. She picks up the cop's gun, gets busy, and is immediately faced with life's burning questions.
Secret? Who? Where? Where are my friends?
Holy shit, girl. Looks like someone messed you up good.
The woman in peril is really annoying.
You lead the way. I don't fancy being in the firing line with you all messed up in the head and all. Plus, I'm wearing heels.
Exploring the police station, you find a giant, mysterious floating clipboard which mentions something called a testing zone and Subject Delta. Before you even encounter a second enemy, you are given a shotgun and pick up a comms headset. make a note of the comms headset. You reach the level exit, get a point summary screen, and are presented with a lady in a lab coat and leather miniskirt. This is where you get to exchange points for ammo and new guns. Who is this lady? Where is this weapons market exactly? How does this tie into the plot? Why did my teddy bear backpack giggle? I have as many questions as dirt. The foremost one being, what the fuck? We finally get some backstory about this very well-written character we just met.
So you still can't remember anything, huh? Well, I remember more than a little bit about what I was doing before I got here. The call came over the wire about some kind of chemical spill out in one of those Hicksville towns in this backwater crap hole. We were the nearest crew to the scene, so I get hauled over there in the van, all dolled up and the like. But when we get to not even 10 miles of the town, we find barricades and men with big guns.
Show don't tell doesn't seem to be in the developer's vocabulary, but we do get some hints of plot here.
I'll be damned if after 8 months of covering bushfires and those damn cattle mutilations, I was going to let a real story slip through my grasp. So we decided to take a closer look.
The damsel in distress is a journalist, and just like Dirt, she's confused about her whereabouts.
Because I woke up with the world's worst hangover, just like you did. That's about all I remember. But I had a bad feeling then.
So you think this is related to some chemical spill?
Maybe. Say, I never actually caught your name back there.
My name? Dirt. At least that's what my friends call me. I have a real name, but it's kind of lame, and it doesn't mean much to me anymore.
Okay, Dirt. Sounds more like a man's name to me, but each to their own, I guess. My name's Penny. Penny Whistler. And don't you dare laugh. I think my dad was drunk at the christening or some shit.
Dirt, being a hero, just wants to find her friends.
Wait, my friends. I have to find them. They might be hurt or in danger.
So let's explore the city, which is looking somewhat abandoned. I can tell you right from the start that the game doesn't feel good to play. There's no subtlety in the movement, there's nothing refined about looking around and aiming. Everything feels off. We're immediately ambushed by what we would now consider relatively small bugs. I decide to use the Laserdisc power, and it really lets the game's sound design shine. As I kill more of these little bugs, an unfortunate side effect of the game's skill point system appears. Cringe text alerts. At least they don't appear right in the middle of the screen. Just when you thought this game is going to be all bug shooting, we meet a cop who helps us toward an evacuation point. I accidentally hit the grenade button. I bump into some NPCs to save from the monsters. Saving this guy in particular triggers a cutscene.
My thanks, young lady, for your help. I was a little tardy on leaving after I heard the...
While there will be plenty more civilians to rescue, this is the only one I encountered that had this cutscene thing happen.
Oh, really? Well, I guess I best be off then. I don't want to miss the last train.
Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. I haven't done anything.
Ponage indeed, my good sir. Tips Fedora, asks woman to make sandwich, buys Twitter for $40 billion. Level 3, there's a cop on the ground as confused as I am. Apparently Marines have been called in to clean the place up. Now where have I heard this before?
Was that the last of them? No, we have to wait for the last engineering team to come through.
These highly trained government killing machines are of course no match for... Wait, why is my backpack crying?
What about that girl the director mentioned? I doubt we'll be seeing anything of her. She's probably bug food by now. Bug food? You made that one up all by yourself, huh? Shut up. Wait.
Get used to hearing that sound clip, by the way. As I dispatch soldiers throughout one of New York City's many famous medieval castles, I'm starting to feel that something strange is going on. In what looks like a central control room, a phone call comes in which drops some lore that I'd love to hear over this extremely loud music.
Jack, it's Brian. I've been trying to reach you. I've been inspecting all available data from last night's experiment and...
In the bathroom, I encounter a poster for the game under its least common alternative title, Dirt, with a 1. I'm going to be extremely kind and generous and call this a double self-reference that's actually an homage to how Max Payne was also self-referential. It's quite genius, and not at all because they didn't have the time to fire up Photoshop and make another texture. This magnificent ballroom is another good opportunity to check out the Razor disc. This is the wine cellar. It contains the most devious puzzle in the entire game. Oh good, I was almost worried I'd have to engage my brain. I used the magic bullet ability with the shotgun, and this is a great moment to talk a little bit about how bullets work. You see, a bullet cartridge is composed of several parts. There's the metal casing, which contains the primer, the thing that gets hit in the gun that creates a spark and ignites the gunpowder, which expands rapidly and pushes the projectile, and only the projectile, out through the gun barrel, leaving the case inside the gun to be ejected through whatever mechanism the gun has. Fascinating, isn't it? None of this matters though, because a shotgun fires shells. In the chapel, we encounter a presentation on Neptune's moon Triton, linking it to the Tunguska event and suggesting biological samples for it were used to create the giant bugs or something. This information will be relevant for the rest of the story in exactly 0 ways, and also the image is hovering a solid 1.5 meters in front of the screen. Next up are these annoying armored roly-poly bugs that are only vulnerable when opened. What do these remind me of? I run into a laser wall and the solution to it. This system is secure unless someone can steer bullets with their mind or something. For some reason, the Switch is a laptop on a mechanical arm with a bullseye on its screen. Don't ask questions, you will die asking questions. Upon entering this rotunda, the deep voice speaks to me again.
Dirt, look to the windows. One of them is fake, the rest are bulletproof. You can get down that way, now go.
Giving me the answer to an environmental puzzle so I don't have to bother doing it myself. On the ground floor, I get my ass handed to me. And this is a great moment to make it clear that while you can save at any point, it doesn't matter? I'm not sure if it saves any stats or anything, but you will always start at the beginning of the level and there are no checkpoints. If this sounds frustrating, just you wait. Just you wait. I don't know about a stealth kill, but I will admit that the way some of these bugs explode when you point your shotgun at them is pretty satisfying. Let's put this on the board as a good thing about this bad video game. I now find myself outside in the castle courtyard, surrounded by the familiar New York City skyline. This is where we come across annoying flying bugs for the first time, and for a very, very brief moment, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And then back to shooting them. I enter a nightclub, and even though it was just daytime a second ago, it's full of dancers, and only dancers, under threat from the giant bugs. The frame rate takes a nosedive from all the action and, impressive lighting effects. There's a lady in a lab coat with a big computer monitor in a room behind a window, and I spend the next 10 minutes trying to figure out how to get there. And then I accidentally hit the grenade button again. It's R, by the way. The grenade button is R. Guess what I was trying to do instead? I make my way from the club directly to a subway tunnel, as you do. I notice a poster for something called GI Ants, coming soon to a console near you. What is this, an optimistic ad for a spin-off? I'm trying to find the words to convey what playing this game is like. Jank isn't it. This is far beyond jank. From the look, to the sound, to the feel, to the entire aesthetic, to the posters that have concept art on them, to the mishmash of textures and simple environments, the placement of text and NPCs and enemies, everything about this doesn't feel like a commercial product made by professionals. It feels like a mod for a never-released game, a mod that is contorting the engine into doing things it wasn't meant to do, a passion project by a group of 2, maybe 3 dedicated but not particularly talented people that dove headfirst into technology they can kinda make work but don't fully understand. Like someone trying to make a racing game out of Half-Life 1. Wait a minute, someone did do that, and it was good. But this is not a mod, and it's from before the age of the Unreal Engine asset flip. It's just renderware with some supposed technology on top. So how? You know, how? I'm asked to escort this worker NPC around while I find colored keycards, and this is one of the few times I praise this game for its mercy. I can press a button to tell him to stay put. Sometimes it's better to let the bugs and the soldiers thin each other out a bit. Truly revolutionary AI for 1998. At no point does Dirt question why this train station is full of posters of herself or a winter sports scene.
Hey!
Oh, story time!
Keeping my options open.
Have you lost your mind?
No, just my sense of emotional detachment.
What the hell are you talking about? You're supposed to be my friend.
Friend? Friend? Who said anything about us being friends? You barely ever spoke to me. You asked me the time of day once or twice. Do you think that makes us friends? Well, I tell you.
She barely remembers his name, or pretends to not be sure because he's an obvious creep and she's trying to keep her distance.
Okay. Why don't we both calm down? Leaf, they call you that, right?
Is anyone else with you?
Look, I don't know anything about what happened to me, or you. The last thing I remember is we were all out camping. Then I woke up in a goddamn jail. The city above is...
The game's British writers revealed themselves.
I was told this tube was the only way out.
Maybe, but your lack of clarity disturbs me. If life has taught me one thing, it's that you're better off alone. Less complications. So I'd think I'd like to remain that way.
Leaf decides to go his own way and implies he's like 40 or whatever, and definitely a pervert for hanging out with a bunch of teenagers.
Godspeed to you, Dirt. You always seem like a good kid.
Wait, no!
I still can't afford any good weapons, or what I hope are good, powerful, useful weapons. I have a little bit of experience with this kind of bad game, and I have a sneaking suspicion some total bullshit is headed my way, and I want to be prepared. I get an M4A for free, so that's nice. The obviously breakable wall breaks without a sound, and what I think is going to be an epic boss fight is actually nothing. I shoot one soldier in the station hall and get to the exit. Time taken? 1 minute and 51 seconds, almost all of which was walking. I have found my way back to the city streets, a different part of town this time, with a level design reminiscent of Duke Nukem 3D. Look at those tasty 90-degree angles. The soldiers are still having a hard time fighting the bugs. They've clearly lost control of the situation. Someone should tell them this little girl is the real threat. We come upon the Rump Building. Brilliant humor that is somehow, someway still exhaustingly topical. On Wall Street, I use Sex Pistols to eliminate some annoying snipers. In any other game, the tank would be some kind of environmental puzzle where you'd have to use both your knowledge of the game's weaponry and the environment to figure out a way to disable it. In Eva Cash, you just walk past it. Time for Chinatown, I guess. We're hitting all the landmarks. I suddenly remembered that this game technically has a cover system. Dirt finds herself once again in the middle of a shootout between the cops and the soldiers. Oh, and also a jet fighter. You can tell by the icon here on the right that this is supposed to be a boss fight, but we're not quite ready yet. I come across one of the game's rare puzzles that requires you to use one of your powers. Puzzle might be a big word here. We save another civilian and she says that she gives me something in gratitude, but don't ask me what. Nothing in the UI changes.
Take this. It might help you.
Then the game asks us to do precarious platforming over these collapsed streets, and I am once again trying to find the words for how much this does not feel right. I know my job is to write them, but I don't think they exist. The game feel here is not at all attuned for doing this. It sucks and I hate it. There's your words. We meet our great nemesis, a Harrier jump jet, and I try to take it out from behind this pipe, fully expecting some bullshit once I enter the actual boss arena. It has a real hard time targeting me at first, but eventually is able to get me with remarkably maneuverable and quiet missiles. For attempt number 2, I make it into the arena, deal with some soldiers, and circle strafe my way to victory. Behind me, a wall quietly collapses in what I'm sure was supposed to be a very cinematic moment.
What the hell? This was some kind of film set?
Well, well, well. Truman Burbank, eat your heart out.
You? By the way, thanks for helping me deal with that giant gunship back there. Really appreciate it.
Sorry, you beat me to it. I only found this place by following the sounds of the explosions.
Excuse me, but there were no sounds to these explosions, thank you very much. Okay, so we're supposed to believe that this entire city, which includes a castle, a functioning subway system, an active police force, Wall Street, and the entire goddamn Chrysler building is all just a film set. Or rather, a training ground for urban warfare, I guess. Or urban bug warfare. In Nevada. Or New Mexico. The desert somewhere in any case. I think I got it, even if the way the game presents it is confusing as hell. Penny, the bitchy journalist from earlier, heard, somehow, that prisoners, presumably my other friends, are being held hostage in a church nearby. My aged friend with the pompadour, whose name is, let's just go with Craig, decides to piss off in a moment where both the dialogue writer and voice actors are trying their absolute best.
Haven't you wondered how it was just you and me that ended up here? Why we were singled out? Why the rest of them disappeared? Well, I have. I've thought about it a lot.
Oh, can't wait to hear this one.
You think we ended up here by magic? We were traded, abandoned, or forsaken for the greater good. You think people will give a damn about you when there's life on the line? They won't. Honor and trust? They're just things you hear about in books, movies, or in stupid video games. You believe in that? Then you're more naive than I gave you credit for. This is the way of the millennium. Wake up and smell the coffee.
Fine. I guess I just don't get it then. You want to believe the worst in people? Then fine. I guess that makes you the same as those that you look so righteously down upon. I just hope you can sit awake at night and find peace living in the knowledge you betrayed and abandoned your friends.
Penny, apparently, and entirely coincidentally, knows an insect guy who's also a conspiracy nut in the town. No further questions about this miles-wide one-to-one recreation of Manhattan are asked in the game. Shout out to patrons, donators, Twitch subscribers, Discord members, YouTube commenters, and anyone watching anything that I do. Some of you are familiar with the massive psychological wall I have to overcome to make these things. I'm not shy about it. Knowing that there's people out there who enjoy what I do is a huge motivator for me to continue doing what I think is genuinely important work, documenting the unwanted, the unloved, and the unnecessary. We spawn in the town on a rainy night. How did we get here? How far is it from faux Manhattan? Don't ask these kinds of questions. You will find nothing. The disembodied voice warns us to stay away, and while Dirt has a conversation with it, we can barely hear it over the sounds of gunfire and screaming.
Well, unless you care to tell me the whereabouts of my friends, then I should have to tell you to stick that piece of information up your ass.
You will find no friends in this place. Always.
This level is a little different from the ones before because it's open and non-linear. Just what a game with this level of quality needs. We're exterminating bugs and soldiers all over the town because that's the only thing we can do until we encounter a cute little bomb disposal bot. I don't know what to do with it, but apparently the soldiers don't mind being pushed around. The teddy bear keeps giggling while I do this. Does that mean I'm doing something right? Remember that headset we picked up at the very start of the game? Yeah, look at your notes. I told you to write it down.
General, Sergeant Chavez, assigned to Delta Company. We have a problem. I think Arkwright has lost it. He isn't making any sense. He just started killing everybody.
What exactly was your assignment, soldier?
Thankfully, a handy clipboard gives us all the relevant information, including how to deactivate a bizarrely ornate magnetic lock on the church door. That's what the little bomb robot is for. It was at this moment that my brain was well and truly fried from this game, and I forgot what the clipboard notes said, and I piloted the little robot to the door itself, thinking I was supposed to use it on the door or the crates next to it. Can you really blame me, though? I finally realized what the game wants from me, and unlocked the church's Da Vinci Code-ass door, still entirely innocent to what horrors lay ahead of me. We finally meet Mr. Arclight, and his incredible voice acting.
Come to defile the purity of this house of God?
House of God?
Arclight has clear motivations.
I carry out my work, guided only by the hand of God. The sinners and transgressors against the Lord are purified.
You claim to be a servant of God? You're killing people here!
Killing? What killing? I'm simply giving these people what I was denied. To free their spirit once the body is spent, not to be trapped in a coffin of steel and decaying flesh. A long time ago I fell in combat.
So instead of letting him die in combat, the military Adam Jensen'd him, and now he's gone a little cuckoo, which is all well and good except for the fact that this is one of the most annoying and horrible and awful and terrible and frustrating and difficult and rage-inducing and just plain bad boss fights I have ever played in the history of video games.
Died a noble death in the service of your country. These are defenseless people you are killing. They aren't ready to depart from this world.
Death is just a simple matter of time. We are all doomed. Every day brings us a little bit closer to it. It is never more than a fraction away. I look into your eyes and see it. You feel it too. And it causes you such pain.
Of course I fear death. Everyone does. I think about it often and it scares me.
Death is a mercy compared to having to play this.
Any sins you want to confess before the end?
So the setup of this fight is pretty straightforward. Arclight is there at the end of the church, you're here, and you gotta shoot him until he dies. Except his health pool is massive. He has a grenade launcher which destroys cover, summons lightning bolts, and has a machine gun which never runs out. Death 1. For round 2, I try to hide behind cover more, which doesn't work at all. I try all my special powers, they don't help. In fact, they actively make things worse. Death 2. Full-on assault with my heaviest weapon. Barely does anything to Arclight's health bar. I think maybe only headshots work because his body is metal or whatever. Maybe I should have chosen the sniper specialization after all? I miss with my magic bullet because he uses the age-old dodging technique of walking slowly. Death 3. Death 4. Even unloading 2 Uzis directly into his skull barely scratches him. Death 5. I am beginning to lose hope. The Razor Disc does the most damage yet, giving some promise, but it also leaves me vulnerable and out in the open. Death 6. Deaths 7, 8, and 9. Time for science. What does the lightning bolt do? Oh, nothing? Wait, I can turn invisible. Maybe that's the trick. Death 10. There are trainers out there for this game, let's try that. Death 11. I looked up a long play on YouTube to see if there was a trick I was missing, but they were using infinite health. Surely I could do this too, because it really seemed impossible otherwise. Another trainer made my capture card go berserk. it didn't work anyway. Death 12. Could I edit the save file in some way? No. Could I edit a file in the chaplain's folder to make it easier? Maybe drop his health? Looks like I can't. I had to go through this for real. Death 13. I was about ready to give up. You have to understand, this did not just mean giving up on the game and playing something good instead. This meant giving up on my authority to talk about this thing I dug up from the deepest bowels of the gamer landfill, miles beneath where they buried the Atari ET cartridges. It wouldn't be an easy decision to make. This game is so bad, so weird, so obscure, it deserves to have a spotlight put on it, and I'm beginning to understand why nobody else has done it so far. Death 14. But if my life is to have any meaning whatsoever, I have to make it through this. So I did a little more Googling. I found one little spark of hope. A save game, but not just any save game, a completed save game with a simple instruction. Upon completion, the game will create a file in the game's directory, and the presence of this file will unlock cheats in the launcher. Glory, hallelujah, give me a God mode. No, it's not a God mode. It's just all weapons unlocked. And a first-person mode I will never use. Well, it's something, isn't it? Here I am. All guns with infinite ammo. A fucking railgun. Surely this will take him down in a few shots. Death 15. Did I really have to give up now? Death 16. Was I supposed to just throw it all away? Death 17. But behold, in the gamer's toolkit there is one last option. Normally a tool for cowards, but when playing games as jank and bad and infuriating as this, a tool of heroes, a tool of champions. That's me. I'm the champion. I'm the hero. And the tool that I wield? Cheese. Stealth kill. Let this be a lesson to you kids. Never, ever, ever give up. Always believe in yourself. Always believe in me too while you're at it, for I have accomplished feats no one in history has been able to. Unless, of course, the game throws more bullshit my way, but surely not. Surely not. It seems that the chaplain was holding the insect expert captive, and not our friends. This is Dr. Giganerd, modeled after Australian national treasure Yahoo Serious.
Albert Einstein.
He is destined to create the most powerful scientific theories in history.
I discovered the formula for splitting beer atoms.
And now we have to escort him to his lab. You know that annoying thing games do where the character you're escorting walks slower than you do, so you have to keep stopping to let them catch up with you? Imagine the most annoying version of that. After clearing the alleyway of soldiers, I find Professor Dorkelheim stuck on the level geometry, but I'm able to give him a little push in the right direction. He arrives at the door of his lab and nothing happens? Because it turns out there's one more soldier hiding on the roof. And if I weren't able to jump on this open garage door in what I'm very confidently assuming is not at all an intentional way, I never would have known this.
Now are you ready to look inside Pandora's box and see the wretched secrets within?
Best voice actor in the game so far.
Is this a place in the mall that sells skimpy underwear?
No, it's the ultimate taboo, the ultimate temptation, and ultimate truth. The truth about what is going on out here. Yeah, the truth. Project G.I. Ants.
Project G.I. Ants. Get it? Do you get it? G.I. as in soldier, ant as in ants, giants as in they're really big ants that are soldiers. Fucking genius.
Project G.I. Ants. There's your answer. That's where these monsters have come from.
A project to create giant insects? They couldn't have thought of a better name, maybe?
I was in a computer game. Funny as hell, it was the most horrible thing I could think of.
Anyway, I won't subject you to too much more of this. Mr. Dweeb & Geek PhD tells us to go to the source of the bug monsters, Area 51. Just like that. Just waltz on in. He advises us to find a Russian friend hiding in a cave to help us sneak in. Don't even try to ask questions, just leave it alone.
But it's there, all right. West of here, next to Groom Lake.
A short walk later.
Ah!
I've done as you asked, old friend. She will go no further. She has great strength and will be a fierce opponent in battle. If we meet again, I must shoot to kill.
Wakey, wakey, little girl.
Where am I?
Relax, little girl, you are safe. Maybe you were having nightmares.
This is the most authentic Russian accent I have ever heard.
You took an anti-riot round from that sniper pretty hard. You've been out cold for a little while.
Oh man, not twice in the same day. I guess I owe you thanks.
Vladimir Kostokovich, intelligence officer second class and proud citizen of Mother Russia.
Well, thanks, Vlad.
You're welcome, comrade worker. You want some vodka?
Anyway, he's just a spy whose job it is to observe Area 51, and instead of having to Naruto run our way in, we're just dropped at the entrance. Now, I don't know how much you, dear viewer, know about Area 51, but if you come within like 100 miles of the place, the US government has the right to just shoot you dead, which is different from any other place in that, Anyway, here we are at Area 51, and where do we go? What do we do? What's our objective? What's our target? I don't know, I just start killing people. I find a hole in the fence entirely by chance. Nice security for your secret base, idiots. The Russian tells us we need to shut down 4 generators to access a back entrance to the facility. 1 in each of the main hangars, warning especially for something inside Hangar 18, which is the name of the supposed real-life hangar where pieces of the Roswell UFO crash were held, at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. Now, first off, as you can see, there are more than 4 hangars. Also, it's a total lie. The first hangar we can actually get inside of houses an SR-71 Blackbird, the predecessor of which, the A-12, was indeed developed for the CIA at Area 51. Does that mean we can put some historical accuracy on the good things board? Doesn't compensate for everything else. I shut down the first generator somehow. I still can't tell if I hit a switch or disabled it with damage. The game gives me no feedback on this. I make my way to another hangar, presumably Hangar 18, because inside I find the American government's greatest weapon. Big Robot. I have great reason to get a panic attack from the boss fights in this game, but I just shoot it until it dies. Well, that's generator 2 down, which leaves 2 generators and 2 hangars, right? Right? That's what the game told me. Oh no, 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 please! I'm gonna have to load the level from the beginning again, aren't I? Oh good, it auto-saved after the boss fight. I guess there are some checkpoints after all. Hold on, let me just take care of this guy real quick. Alright, let's go look for those other 2 generators. Not this one. Not this one either. Nope, nothing. I have run out of hangars to check. Looking at that long play again... What? Shut down 4 generators in 4 hangars to access the secret facility? Total fabrication. Complete lies. Fine, whatever. We're underground now. Fun fact, in the 90s, the US Air Force and Environmental Protection Agency were sued by contractors who worked at Area 51 for exposure to hazardous chemicals. Does that mean we should put historical accuracy on the good things board after all? Fine. The cartoonishly green toxic waste doesn't harm me, by the way. What do you think this is, some kind of video game? I'm kind of digging this music, though. Even if it's not tonally appropriate for the underground cavern toxic waste dump vibes, and I have a feeling that after 75 loops or so I'm gonna be real tired of it. Also, all this intense action is making the frame rate chug again. Even inside the base, it looks like the bugs are running wild. Let me just... There we go. Turns out the 3rd generator is here in what is distinctly not a hangar. I also can't tell whether I actually did anything to shut it off, so for all I know it's just a reused model. Generator 4 is a little more clear, at least by the standards of this game. Catch that? Either hitting a switch or shooting the generator opened the door. You can tell because they attached the camera directly to the sliding door, which is something professional game developers call, "Please let me go home. I've been in this office for 50 hours straight without sleep and I'm only allowed to piss in the empty cans of energy drink that occupy 90% of my desk. I have a family." I am now sick of the music. We have officially made it into the depths of Area 51. Dreamland. Paradise Ranch. It looks like the inside of the Death Star for some reason, but you know what? Fine. A little bit of inventiveness in the environmental design. I'll take it. Containment procedures are in effect, and Dr. Scientist over here wants me to escort him all the way to the coolant transmuter. Right across the hall. Apparently we need to shove the coolant into something called the X-51 engine to shut off laser grids. Cool. This is like, it's like game design or something. Notice how the coolant has no lighting, and that the pickup text says it's used for the X-01 engine, not X-51. But now what? This big obvious door is closed, there's no obvious switches. Oh, look at that, an unlit clipboard tucked away in a corner, giving us an incredibly subtle hint that we need to start a fire to open the security door. Now if only we could find something flammable. Oh, there's a wooden crate right here. Genius puzzle design. Looking forward to turning off these laser grids for sure. The ominous red door leads us to the X-01/51 jet engine power generator room, where we can take care of some soldiers and try to listen to this scientist lady's very lengthy dialogue over the music.
No, I'm not okay. For God's sake, this is the last time I'm coming into work here. I was sick of my job before this. This has made my mind up. I'm getting out of here. All I wanted to do when I left school was help people.
Now, she says,
"These things are killing people. Hell, if it wasn't for you, it would have killed me."
but it was just a regular hazmat soldier pointing a gun at her. I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, and I know this is a bit out there, but hey, we're in Area 51. Maybe this game wasn't entirely finished. She just keeps talking and talking. Oh my god, lady, please. I have things to kill and friends to save? Right, I'm here to save my friends. We start the engine. We should be safe from laser grids now. We take a minute to listen to an authentic German scientist, an enjoyer of paper clips perhaps, talk about nothing important.
Only has the engine proved to outperform conventional jet design in every way.
I think this dialogue was originally supposed to be placed earlier in the level to give you an objective. And as stuff got reshuffled while they were shoving this thing out the door, they thought, fuck it, we already recorded the lines, let's put them somewhere, anywhere. Anyway, onto the hallway where he shut down the lasers and... Oh no, 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 no! No, please, no, God, fucking shit. I need you to understand something. Sit down, I really need you to understand this. Controlling Dirt sucks. The way she moves, the way she shoots, and especially the way she jumps is awful. Animations are long and slow, distance is hard to gauge, and feedback is essentially non-existent. Dirt is not made for platforming, for jumping accurately, for moving intuitively. A moving laser hallway like this, it's the absolute opposite of what a game like this needs. I take fighting that goddamn robo-priest in the church 100 times over having to do this. Problem is, I've run out of cheats. I got all weapons and infinite ammo, but that's it. Let's look at how the long play does this. God mode. I don't have God mode. I can't have God mode. I don't have a way to overcome this. And I also want to remind you about how this game's save system works. It doesn't? It doesn't work at all. If I die in this hallway, I have to do the last 15 minutes over. And then the chance is still high that I'm going to die in this hallway again. This is hell. This is actual hell. All my sins have come back to haunt me in the Eva Cash Project Dirt laser hallway. Fine, let's give it a shot. get a brilliant idea. If I'm invisible, the lasers go right through me. There's a shield power-up I've never used. Maybe that will work? Surely they made some attempt at integrating these power-ups within the environmental puzzle. Nope, you can't move while shielded. I am so tired. Maybe front flipping will give me invincibility frames? Sideways flips, maybe? Super dodge. Surely that has invincibility frames, right? I can't give up. I've come too far. We are presumably, hopefully, near the end of the game. I have to do this. I summon the power of my ancestors. I summon whatever remnants of God are left in the galaxy. I summon all your energy and faith in me. I believe. Today's the day. The only way out is through. I hope you're proud of me, Mom. After this nearly insurmountable challenge, this incredible victory, we are rewarded with more plot.
Well, thanks for the compliment, but you're really not my type. Do you know that aging insane look went out with the dinosaurs, right?
Interesting. I imagined the state of mutations would be further evolved by now.
Some truths are revealed here. Dirt's powers are no accident.
However, I have heard from our field units that you have developed some very interesting additional powers.
Well, how about you tell me where my friends are, and I might treat you to a little demonstration.
Friends? Well, I can introduce you to a friend. Well, actually, he is more like family.
What the?
Allow me to introduce you to my latest and most potent creation. He is the perfect collaboration between our GINTS program and our cybernetics program.
Another boss fight, this time against a cyber bug with barely any sound design. Did you know that sound design is important for mood setting? You can tell because this game doesn't have any of either. It is, thankfully, an easy battle. Now you know how in video games when a boss battle ends, there's a cutscene or some kind of change in the level to show you where to go next? Not here, so I wander a bit. I encounter enemies, and again, experience tells me that whenever you encounter enemies, that means you're going in the right... Okay, now I'm not too sure. Yep, it just respawned all the soldiers. This isn't the right way at all. A little bit more wandering does get me to where I need to be. Why do they sound like hurt dogs? Who on the dev team hurt a dog to record that sound effect? I'm just randomly hitting switches at this point, never expecting the game to tell me what to do or why. We got oxygen control and hydrogen control, okay. But look, this time the game does the opposite and over-explains with one of these unlit clipboards. Self-sustaining solar system. Yeah, okay, sure. I'm not gonna ask a single question, okay? I'm not gonna make a single comment about how the developers didn't know what fusion energy is, but they had some inkling the sun was involved, so they just typed the words self-sustaining solar system as if that's a valid replacement. I'm just gonna light it. If you ask me what the fuck is this in the comments, I'm not gonna answer because there is no answer. This is Dirt Origin of the Species, aka Eva Cash Project Dirt. That's the only answer, okay? Remember that part in the original Half-Life where you have to power up a laser to blast through a wall, and the whole thing was an elaborate puzzle integrated into the level, and the end result was you got to make deeper progress into Black Mesa and receive the Tau Cannon along the way, and it was all very satisfying? Yeah, in Eva Cash you hit a button, and you can't even see the laser! Okay, now again, I keep having to repeat this, but it's very important that you don't ask questions at this next part. It's a boss fight. I have to shoot these orbs to do damage. The teddy bear backpack sneezes. The boss is some kind of energy being that shoots lightning bolts. You're not looking at them for most of the fight because you gotta shoot the orbs. Once you've shot them all, it just disappears and a door opens. That's it. Now you know as much about this boss, where they come from, what it is, and why it matters as everyone else. I'm running out of words, folks. I'm genuinely running out of words. Thesaurus.com can't help me now. Could they not have left a single clipboard with a single sentence explaining who or what this was supposed to be? Had the computers already been repossessed by the time they realized they left a boss in the game with zero, absolutely no description of what it is? Ironically, this plotless boss fight is followed by lengthy cutscenes. We meet what is, I guess, the main villain of the story, General Evil.
Insane removing witnesses. These are Americans we're talking about. Innocent Americans. This has all gone too far.
Let me remind you, General Campbell, you were part of the committee, and you were party to all decisions pertaining to the conception, execution, and containment of Project G.I. Ants.
I like his little animated eyebrows. So lifelike.
And explain to them how we spent their $22 billion?
With all mutual respect aside, General.
Anyway, weapon needed for American supremacy, blah blah. The insects have evolved past the need for chemical, yada yada. They're learning to nest, da 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 da. These cutscenes really go on for far too long.
Get to the point, Brian, damn it.
General Camouflage wants to vaporize the site, but General Evil just wants to protect himself. The politics of all of this is riveting.
Jack, what are you doing?
The prerogative of this installation is to create weaponry to give our armies the edge on the battlefield. Top secret, cutting-edge weaponry. The moment word of this is leaked, every country with an ambitious dictator will be bidding for samples to engineer their own programs.
I said now, General!
We're dumped right into another cutscene, but at least this one will have revelations.
Oh.
Are you okay, mister?
My God, it's... Am I dead?
You're not dead, but you're in pretty bad shape.
Do you know who I am?
No. You look familiar, though.
How are you feeling? You look... well. Very well.
I've started to change. I can do new things. And then there are the nightmares.
What nightmares? Stop asking questions, Dirt. You're in a bad computer game. Funny as hell, it was the most horrible thing I could think of. Anyway, this scientist man is Dirt's father. Dirt was sick as a youngster, so he gave her the bug virus or whatever, and then abandoned her for her own safety, and that's why she has powers now. That's it. No more questions.
But, I have so many questions.
There will be time for that. In this life or the next, you must believe me.
Rest now, Father. I forgive you. And I swear I will stop this now.
And thus ends 11 whole minutes of cutscenes. We have somehow escaped Area 51 off-screen and are now in a deserted town. There's a car we can use to get to our destination, but it's missing parts that are scattered all over the town, and we have to find them. Okay, it's time to talk about the spelling errors in this game. Now look, we've all made typos in a hurry, okay? Happens to the best of us. But the amount of spelling errors in this game is maybe one of the most bizarre things about it. They're all over the cutscenes, the in-game text, the game's folder, and even on the game's box. James Mason? Oh, you mean James Madison? Again, this is a commercial video game. They ask money for this. It's not a mod made in a basement in Eastern Europe by two friends who learned the English language from watching the same 3 episodes of MacGyver 100 times. The people who wrote this were English! The game was made in England! Anyway, this is another one of those open levels where they just drop some buildings into an environment and then slap some enemies on top of them. Highlights include the Engine Rice 1000 ECU. I'm surprised that casual racism took this long to appear. A group of campers with a hippie van being attacked by bugs. I saved them. Well, some of them. Why don't we use the van to escape? Hey, now that's a question. Those are illegal. Here's a water tower with a curious hitbox. We encounter Leaf again, this time being exceedingly suspicious.
No, I found it when I was looking for something else.
But just as creepy as usual, channeling his inner incel self.
I've been left alone myself too often. It hurts so much. I don't want it to happen again. I just want to be alone. Care about no one.
The cutscene goes on and on and on, and oh my god, please, what is this all even for?
I wish I had got to know you before all this happened. Back in the real world.
No, Dirt, he's just using pity to manipulate you.
Holy shit. A queen. Well, at least we'll die for something. Our lives will have meaning, right?
Hey, you only gave me 10 minutes to make these comic book cutscenes. I think I need another 5 to do a quick spell check.
Spell check? We don't need no spell check. Ship it. It's good. It's done. We'll sell millions.
Okay, let's haul ass.
After you.
Hey, you wanted this?
Yeah, I found a drag car over in the barn. Looks like someone was doing quarter-mile runs out here. Figured if I could find the missing parts, it might just make the jump out of this canyon.
Sounds dangerous. Woman driver.
Hey!
Fuck you, Leaf, you 45-year-old pompadour having pink shirt wearing coward predator dirtbag. I'm gonna decapitate you with my razor disc first chance I get. It says I just found a high-flow intake. Now, I'm not a car person, but that doesn't look like an intake to me. In fact, it's the camshaft I found earlier. They really did not have time to go click, click, click and place the camshaft here so it would make sense with the comic book cutscene. That's not a question. They just didn't. This guy on the water tower continues to be protected by God. Speaking of things they didn't have time to do, a little animation where upon collecting and delivering all of the parts, the car drives through the town and jumps over the ramp. Some payoff for the work we just did. Even the Beverly Hills Cop game, one of the cheapest, emptiest, saddest licensed games of all time, was able to do this. Come on! We're in the home stretch now. Just have to make it through the airplane graveyard onto the space center. I spawned directly in front of a group of soldiers, so naturally I started blasting. Oops, turns out they're my escort. Except they're not my escort, they have a bomb disposal guy who I'm escorting. The bug attacks really continue to make the audio design shine. Thankfully, the soldiers are immune to bomb blasts and shrapnel.
Please don't tell anyone. I'll never live it down.
I die from my own grenade and get a sinking feeling in my gut. We're so close to the end. When I respawn, the soldiers are already moving. I notice the bugs don't spawn here this time around, so I'm already looking for ways to cheese this. The soldiers are useless and I can still kill them, so I have no reason to actively protect them, but the insects are relentless and this corridor is narrow.
Please don't tell anyone. I'll never live it down.
This time when I spawn, the soldiers are already at the first aircraft, and I'm thinking, if they move ahead on their own, and I'm the one who triggers the bug attacks, maybe I could just hang back and let them clear the path in peace? No, look, now they wait for me. And taking on these bugs on my own is still difficult. No, but really, look at how many bugs there are. How the hell am I supposed to do this? The bomb disposal dude repeats the same "saved by a girl" misogynistic crap over and over.
Saved by a girl. Please don't tell anyone. I'll never live it down.
You guys coming or what? Oh, this is the last plane. You're done with your work and I can leave you behind to get slaughtered. Great! I see a level exit icon and all my fear dissolves. For 1 second. This is an arena with a new enemy type. Bugmen! Soldier bugmen with railguns! Now, as much as I love a good bugman, this means I have to do the level over again. And I'll be honest, making it this far kinda felt like a fluke. And I'm tired, I'm exhausted. This game's nonsense has been relentless. It's been about 7 hours of non-stop infinite bullshit, and I just want to go to bed and dream of good games. In my delirium, I get one idea. A brilliant spark shining in the darkness. This is a bad game, right? We've already seen that the bug spawning is inconsistent. There sure is a lot of level geometry here. Now, platforming in this game is hell, but I'll do it if I can avoid all this horseshit, and I'll feel smug about it too. First, I leap over this fuselage, presumably avoiding the enemy trigger box entirely. I hop on this pipe, leaping over another plane. The soldier AI gets tripped up while I'm doing this, but I don't care. I don't need them. I'm scoping out a path that will take me above the chaos. If this game doesn't play by the rules, I see no reason why I should. Some bugs still spawn, but from this vantage point... Shit. But we have a plan now. We have hope. In fact, why do I even bother waiting for the soldiers? The level exit icon is already there, surrounded by bugmen, just waiting for me to trigger it. Speedrunning strats are in order here. I find a better path on the left, as you do. It's working. It's working. I am conquering this game. I am defeating the enemy. Here I have to make a choice. Do I try to worm my way up this steep geometry, or go for a long jump onto that container? Shit. We're learning. I try again, revealing a magnificent vista. But more importantly, revealing a straight shot to the end. I can even take care of the bugmen from afar. I am a genius. I am a hero. I am the best there ever was, the best there ever will be. I have overcome grief and pain and sorrow and challenges no other person has ever encountered. I am... pretty cool. I stroll to the level exit with a full health bar.
Halt! I can't let you pass.
We meet, face to far-off face, the sniper who beanbagged us earlier. Remember right before I met the Russian? For reasons we'll never know or understand, he still has orders to stop us, and we finally run into another one of our friends, Skank. Skank is tied up to some bombs that John Sniperman over here will set off if we use any of our powers, which... okay, none of my powers would be useful in a sniper battle like this anyway. The fight is about as exciting as you could possibly expect from this game.
Skank! You okay, man?
We save Skank, who seems oblivious, other than a bizarre reaction when I mention Leaf.
I hooked up with Leaf a few miles away, but I lost him again, and I haven't seen anyone else. You?
Leaf? No, I better go. Thanks for your help.
Or it's just the voice acting being shit. There is no way to tell. After this, we're just dumped somewhere. There's a boss icon on the screen. Down the hole we go! The bugmen, by the way, sound and behave exactly like regular soldiers. I can only assume that they use the same AI and are purely model swaps with railguns. So under the airplane graveyard, there's some kind of complex where once again we meet up with this asshole.
Leaf! What happened?
I don't know, Someone shot me.
What are you even doing here, dipshit? He got shot, so maybe we'll get lucky and he dies? One thing you should not do is ask how Leaf, a regular boring creepy man in his 40s with no superpowers or soldier escort, was able to make it this far ahead of me. The relationship between these two characters is the most well-developed thing in the game, and that may well be the most dire thing about it. So you pick up Leaf, and he's of course not in the actual game at all. Party members not showing up in-game? Now this is RPG Light. Or maybe he's climbed into the teddy bear? We mow down a couple more bugmen and come face to face with General Evil.
Hold it right there.
You!
You recognize me? Wait, where did you... You look strangely familiar.
So, like, just let me get a little pedantic here, okay? The General doesn't recognize Dirt. Fine. Her powers are a result of her father secretly using the bug research in an attempt to save her life, after which he essentially abandoned her for her protection. Fine. But why were we taken separately from our friends and put into that jail cell in not New York? Why did the clipboard we found there, literally the first interactive thing in the game, imply that we were there as part of a test of my abilities? Why does the tutorial say, "Welcome back to the training facility, Dirt"?
Wait. Now I recognize you. Project Angel.
Well, that's an answer, but it just brings up more questions.
Jessica, this is for you.
Jessica, was that your daughter? I heard them mention her. I know you lost her, but you must try to get over it. You must try to honor her memory.
It's too late. Too late to change things now. Jessica, please forgive me.
No!
What happened here? Was he gonna shoot himself in the head and Dirt prevented this by shooting him? It's hard to tell because there's no sound effect nor muzzle flash. Wait, rewind. Is that supposed to be him typing on the keyboard? To do what exactly?
Is he dead?
I think so. He shot the control panel.
Oh, okay. To do what, though?
God!
What is it?
There she is. So beautiful. So perfect.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I need to go down there. Alone.
Alone? Why? Why alone?
'Cause you need to stay here and save your strength.
I want to help you.
Then try to figure out how to release those safeties on the rocket. If I can get her to come down underneath those boosters, you kick the rockets and barbecue her.
Good luck. And thanks.
For what? All I've done is shout at you and got you shot.
You gave me hope. Something to die for. Made it beautiful to live again.
Your music's bad and you should feel bad.
I get rid of a few last bugmen on my way to the final boss, the finale elevator. This can go one of two ways, and only two ways. Either it's stupidly easy, or it's agonizingly difficult. I'm not backing down. Shooting the queen directly does nothing. Dirt said in the cutscene that I should kite the queen under the booster so that Leaf can light her up, but she's already directly underneath the boosters, so throw that idea out. Several large eggs litter the arena. Blowing them up makes the queen's health go down. Stupidly easy it is. There is no music. I don't even have to destroy all the eggs. I did not edit this cut. This is what happens at the very moment the boss's health hits 0.
You okay?
Yeah. I was just thinking about why. Why create a monster to kill one? Why kill in the name of salvation? And why hate when there's no one left to love? Will you ever see people the same again?
I don't know. I always figured people will do what's best by them. Well, most of the time.
And the rest of the time?
Sometimes people follow something else. Call it their heart, their instinct, something they can't control. Whether that's overwhelming passion or attraction or twisting and consuming hatred, maybe you can't have one without the other. Maybe that is the angel and demon within us all. It makes us do the best and the worst things.
Maybe sunny days wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for the rain.
The ultimate paradox of the human condition. Why we can't ever be truly happy. Oh,
How are you feeling?
I'm getting tired now.
Me too. It's been a long day.
Yeah, a long day.
Hey, at least it's over now.
It's not over. It's just beginning.
No, you shut the fuck up, entirely unexplained disembodied voice. It is over. I'm shutting down Windows, and it's over, and I get to sleep and somehow find the energy to write a conclusion for this game. It's over. There's no way around it. Dirt Origin of the Species, aka Eva Cash Dirt Project, is a disaster. This is a dumpster fire. It is a magnificent train wreck. It's changed my life forever. I try to find a positive in every game I look at, even when it's a cult classic I don't think deserves to be a cult classic, or when it's a game about a disgusting sentient egg. But with this one, I'm struggling. Dirt's design, maybe? This is one of the most broken, poorly developed, buggiest, least rewarding games I've ever played. But it's not boring. Nothing about this game fits together well, and after its release it sank into the pit of history until I put on my yellow kitchen gloves and makeshift hazmat suit and went for a dive to dig it back out. It's easy to use shallow game crit language and say that the game was rushed or the developers were lazy, but remember, New Generation was founded in 2002. The game was supposed to release in 2004, and it was eventually released in North America in 2006 and in Europe a year later. That's 4 years of development plus an extra year for tweaking and fixing the European version, although presumably that time and budget was entirely consumed by the localization efforts. At this point, I can only assume that the game was built on a single computer that the entire dev team had to share amongst themselves. Can I ask questions now again, please? Why is DIRT an acronym when it's just her name? And why is the acronym version of it never used in the game? What is the DIRT Project? Is it in any way related to Project Angel? What is the disembodied voice? At some point there's a hint that it's the Queen Bug, but the voice is obviously masculine, sympathetic to Dirt, and still around after we've killed the Queen. What is Mr. Boo, the teddy bear backpack? I get that it has gameplay function, even if it is practically useless, but there's not a single line of lore telling us why it's alive and giggling. When there's remnants of the intended product still in the released product, you can usually take a stab at recreating a semblance of what it was supposed to be in your head. For any game, the path from initial vision to final product is littered with the corpses of good ideas. Like a movie that gets butchered in the edit, the developers had to cut enemies, weapons, or whole levels out because of time constraints, or because it didn't work the way they wanted it to, or because some executive corpo dickhead had a particular fetish that required more attention. But you can still see maybe where it was supposed to fit in, or was reappropriated, or whatever. The Half-Life games are full of these things. Here's a preview I found with the description of the game's bosses. Oh, the weird energy being is an AI hologram construct called Joshua. Get it? And the big mech is called Z208. Get it? Here's some preview images from IGN which show a room with the UFOs and the entomologist that aren't in the game at all. Marketing material references a graviton gun and a pheromone rifle that I never crossed paths with. Like all games, it went through changes and compromises to get it out the door. But here, I'm just lost. There's no hints, there's no answers, there's just madness. Speaking of madness, the effort I had to go through to get it running. It should go without saying that it's not available on any digital storefronts, nor should it be. Nobody should be making money for gatekeeping access to this game. The copy protection on the disc holds strong even to this day. There are technically no CD cracks floating out there, but because there's so many different versions of the game, there's no guarantee they'll work with whichever copy you end up downloading. It will not run from an ISO, it will not run in a virtual machine, it will not run on my real hardware Windows XP machine even if I burn a disc. So I had to get a physical copy, which is fine. The most enjoyable parts of my collection, the things I love owning the most, are total trash. Problem is, the only physical copy I could find for a reasonable price online was Spanish. It has a cool holographic sleeve, but it is only in Spanish. All the files, all the text, all the audio has been translated. The cutscenes are dubbed and the comic book panels localized.
¿Caja de Pandora? ¿Ese local del centro que vende ropa interior tan pequeña?
¡Ay! ¡No es el tabú definitivo! ¡La tentación definitiva!
But I'm a crafty motherfucker. Would it be possible for me to just replace all these files from this English language disk image I nabbed from archive.org? After some cataloging of all the movie and dialogue and interface files, the answer was Yes! And it didn't even crash or anything. My reward for this hard work? I got to play the game. Oh. What is Eva Cash? How is Eva Cash? Why is Eva Cash? It is an earnest attempt at creating something new through the time-honored tradition of fusing together everything the designer thought was cool. Gunplay, a sexy badass protagonist, giant bugs, conspiracies, psychic powers, slow motion. To make this, even what was eventually released, took money, took work, took concept art, long meetings, design documents, deadlines, and dare I say it, some crunch? Now for sure, with budget niche publishers like Tri-Synergy and Nobilis, this wasn't a AAA effort by any means. But you expect shovelware from shovelware companies like Team 6, makers of such classics as Manhattan Chase and Flatout 3, or bottom-of-the-barrel licensed trash published by Blast Entertainment. Scorpion's gonna scorp. That's their business, making low-effort, bare-minimum, cheapest possible pieces of software to trick grandmas during Christmas time. Shovelware is designed to be shovelware. It's low-effort because the people making it are cheap. I don't think this is low-effort. I think this team at New Generation tried hard, but for what must be at least multiple interconnected reasons, they were unable to make what they set out to make. These were industry veterans, apparently, funded for at least 5 years, apparently, had contacts with publishers, apparently. From the scraps that made it onto disc, you can still kinda tell what they were going for. And in better hands, there are some ideas here that could make for a compelling game. Dirt herself, an extremely 2000s teenager with superpowers. Project G.I. Ants, a dopey pun that could be fun in a 50s B-movie send-up kinda way. The idea of being stuck in a fake recreation of an entire city that then reveals itself to be in a desert? Yeah, that's a good idea. Dark City, but not in... That's cool. But the way it comes together, or rather doesn't, well, it's both totally logical and extremely remarkable to me that this game was consigned to oblivion. Now, it was not totally forgotten. The game made some mark on some people. Amazingly, a couple of speedruns for it exist. Exactly 2 by truly the bravest among us. And at least one diligent person did enough research to write up a proper Wikipedia page for this game, which helped at least a little bit as a jumping off point for my own investigation.
I had feared this would be the case. The ET-76 GI ant strain is reacting with the T-76 in your own body.
T-76? In my own body? What?
Questions, questions, questions. When I encounter a weird game, and I am actively searching for them at this point, I get questions. When I look up to see what people have said about such a game and find nothing, I still have questions. Usually, most of the time, when I find a way to play the game myself, give it a thorough look, experience it, I can answer some of those questions. But Eva Cash Project Dirt, aka Dirt Origin of the Species, is in the unique position of leaving me with many more questions than when I first came across it. It is, to me, a terrifying enigma. Should these questions even be answered? Would the world be better served with such knowledge? How has this flown under the radar of bad game aficionados for so long? More importantly, what else is buried? What other treasures may we find deep down in the depths? There I go again, asking more questions.
Say, how about you get off my goddamn case and we figure that way out of this together?